Hello, everyone. I'm Christopher Shattuck, the Law Practice Assistance Manager from the State Bar of Wisconsin, and I'm here today with a great cast of folks who have attended the Solo and Small Firm Conference in the past. I will start with Nerino. Nerino, would you like to introduce yourself for the group and talk about your practice and just your involvement with the conference?
Well, sure. My name is Nerino Petro. I'm currently the president of the Erickson Group of Companies in Rockford, Illinois. I was the first practice management advisor, what Chris's role is now at the State Bar of Wisconsin, for 8 years. I've been involved in legal technology and legal practice management issues for lawyers since the 1990s. And I'm a past chair of the Solo Small Firm Conference. I helped found the conference, and I think it's a great resource for Wisconsin lawyers.
Thank you, Nerino. With the Solo and Small Firm Conference going virtual this year, how can attorneys get the most out of this new format?
Well, you know, it is. This is going to be different for all of us. You know, I'm still a big believer that the value of the conference is much more than just the CLE. It's that interpersonal reaction and ability to connect. But since we can't do that this year, it's not a choice. We're going to the next best thing. And I think, Chris, you and the bar have picked up a really intriguing online conference platform that I haven't seen used by anybody else in the legal world. They're using it in the commercial world. So I think some of the benefits we're going to get from this, first of all of the sessions are going to be recorded this year, as I understand. So for those that have had the problem in the past where, gee whiz, I've got 2 competing sessions at the same time, what do? That's not going to be a problem this year because you're going to be able to eventually watch both. I think the other thing is we're still going to have a virtual vendor hall, which is going to allow attendees to go ahead and actually interact with vendors on a one-on-one basis, see their wares. They're going to be able to ask questions. They're going to see some absolutely terrific presentations. It's just going to be from the comfort of your own desk. And honestly, it's kind of like a football game in December. You know, it's fun to be at the field, but there's nothing like being at home in your easy chair when you don't have to stand in line for food or to use the restroom. So that's going to be a lot like I think it is for this year's Solo Small Firm Conference.
That's so great. Thanks so much. And what can lawyers expect to get out of the technology track CLE at this year's conference?
Well, I'm the track co-chair for the technology track along with Brent Heft. And what we tried to focus on this year were topics that would actually benefit lawyers in their practice. Not esoteric things, not things that are, you know, maybe can help or high level 30,000 feet views. We're trying to get down into the forest itself. So we've got sessions like making the leap to Microsoft Office or Microsoft 365 and leveraging that. Office 365, now Microsoft 365 has been out for several years. Many lawyers are still slow to adopt. We're going to talk about how that can benefit your practice. We're going to talk about, of all things, automating your law practice with simple things, things like Zapier and if this then that tie into a lot of programs that lawyers use, and with simple steps can help automate various workflows and tasks in your office. We're going to be doing a session on the power of video, and Erin's on this call with us. She's also one of the co-presenters on that session, where we're actually going to talk about why you should be using video in your practice, what it takes, and it doesn't take to break the bank, and how you can actually get started in providing resources of that. So overall, I think you're going to get a nice lineup of sessions that will give you actual information and knowledge that you can take back and use in your practice. And of course, while not part of the technology track, we will be bringing back gizmos, gadgets, and widgets with myself and Brian Sims. So if you don't watch anything else, tune in for that one.
That's great. We'll be sure to tune in for that. And it seems like with all of the different technology changes and practice management changes with COVID, it seems like attending this year's conference might be a necessity for some folks. Would you agree, or would you like to share some additional insights on what they can expect?
Oh, no, I agree. I think, first of all, I think the conference is a must attend for solo small firm lawyers and even mid-sized and large-size lawyers any time of the year, simply because you get such a nice, diverse presentation field in our tracks. That's the other thing is, I mean, you go to a lot of conferences, they might have 2 tracks. We're running 4 and 5 tracks. So I think that that's important. It is hard to keep up. And some of the best ways they can do it is by attending the conference, or at least, you know, signing up for the conference so they have the videos and everything available. I think another thing is the Practice 411 program that you're heading up at the bar. I think that's a great resource for lawyers staying on top of it. And you just have to make time in your day, not a lot, but or your week, to just kind of stay up on things. You don't have to be an expert. You just need to know, hey, I remember somebody like, Erin or Thomas or somebody talking about something, and I need to find out more, and I can call Chris or look it up and find that information. So that'd be my advice.
Thank you so much, Norino. And Erin, I would like to switch over to you next. Would you please introduce yourself and your practice areas?
Fabulous. I'm Erin Ogden, managing attorney at Ogden, Glazer, and Schaefer. We are a firm that really focuses on where intellectual property and business intersect. So helping businesses protect and make money on all of those intangibles and things that make them special. So that includes a lot of trademarks, trade secrets, and copyrights. And one of the great things about this panel and Social and Small Firm is I met all of these guys through the conference. So I'm so excited to see you, Matt, Tom, and Norino. I didn't even have to wait until October this time.
That is so true. And Erin, I follow you on LinkedIn. You're very active in promoting different resources and things that your firm has been involved with. So I guess the best question I have for you is, since the COVID shutdowns have started in March, we've all learned many things about technology and how to modify our practices and what we need to do to continue to thrive during this time. Very challenging time that we're all going through. So what are some of the best things you've learned about how technology and practice management can help your law practice during the pandemic?
Sure. Some of the best things that I've learned during this shutdown is actually how willing our clients have been in embracing technology. We're a pretty technology forward firm to begin with. And so sometimes we're a little concerned that we'll outpace some of our clients. Some of our clients are building software. So they're telling us that we're old school because we're still, relying on email. But we have other clients that we were a little worried about embracing technology if we aren't able to meet them in person or not be able to kind of hold their hands in person a little more. And it's been really amazing how many people have embraced not just video, but other online things. Like we use a lot of forms online to our website. We've introduced a thing where people can get their documents from us instead of calling us. They can just go and get it. And it's been really great to see how people are embracing that technology and not feeling, I think at the beginning for a while, some of them were feeling a little stuck and a little concerned, but so many of them have taken this opportunity to really figure out how to make it work and how to use it. And so it's been fabulous that we've been able to talk to all of our clients, across the state, across the nation, because of this new embrace of technology.
Thank you, Erin. And just from your discussion, it seems like the technology and practice management techniques have created efficiencies for your firm and has made your firm more secure, as everything is going into the cloud or being conducted electronically these days. What are some tips that you've learned from past conferences that prepared you for practicing during a pandemic?
Sure. Some of the tips that we learned long before we even knew the pandemic would be a thing is how important security is and how we have to be very careful about that. And that's something that was going to be a concern long before and will be a concern long after. And so we're always looking to make sure, are we doing the right thing? Is this going to be a secure thing? And having that that bit each year and everything that the State Bar does to help explain that and make sure we're doing the right thing is really helpful. Other things that we've learned for efficiencies include just the new tools or new ways of using tools we already have. And so that's been a fabulous thing. But one thing I think both Tom and Matt has said is talking with other people at the conference and hearing what they're doing and what new things they're experimenting with and what has succeeded and what has failed for them. I love learning from other people's mistakes and I love telling other people our mistakes and what we've learned from them. And so it's not just the presentations, but it's the discussions. And I think that those discussions, while are easier to run into someone in the hall, can still happen in this virtual space. And so that's one of the things I've always looked forward to, is hearing what other people are doing and figuring out how to make that work in our firm.
Thank you, Erin. And Matthew, I'd like to switch over to you for some questions. Would you care to introduce yourself and talk about your practice area?
Sure, thanks for having me, Chris. So I'm Matt Underwood, and I'm an estate planning and elder law attorney. I'm the owner of Underwood Legal LLC, and we're located in Madison, Wisconsin.
And how many times have you attended the Solo Small Firm Conference, Matthew?
So this will be my third year. So actually the first time I attended was in 2012, I believe, and then I attended last year. So so going along with what Norino said, I think it is one of those CLEs that you want to go to. So I plan to attend regularly and continue doing that every year. So I'm looking forward to it this year.
That's great. And what piece of advice would you give a first-time solo or small firm attorney that is attending the conference?
Yeah, that's a great question. And actually, the first time I attended, I didn't get all that I could have out of the conference. So, the first time I attended, I actually stayed in Madison. So I was commuting between Madison and the Dells for those programs. And what I was doing is I was just focusing on those CLE programs. But I would say the CLE programs are really only about half of the value that you can get out of that solo and small firm conference. So if you're attending, I would say plan to be fully engaged. So that means, try not to let your work distract you. I think as solo attorneys, we're always kind of checking our emails, seeing what's coming in the door. But I think the more you can focus on the conference, the better. And don't just go for the CLE programs, go to the networking events, talk to those vendors, because there's a whole lot of great advice out there, but you'll need to go out and, reach out to people, connect with your peers, rather than just attending those CLE programs.
Thank you, Matthew. And as a solo or / small firm attorney, what is your biggest challenge, and how does attending the conference help make things a little easier for you?
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest challenges is when you're a solo or small firm attorney, you have to wear a number of different hats. So not only do you have to be the lawyer, but you have to be the marketing person, the IT person, HR director. So if you try to do everything, you'll just have a lot of headaches, and that'll really make it tough for you to grow your practice. So one of the things that I've got from the Solo Small Firm Conference is some of the tools and technology that solo and small firm attorneys can use. So you don't necessarily need an on-site IT person. There's really great cloud-based software systems. There's tools where you can delegate work to other people. So if you don't want to be answering your own phones, there's services that can do that for you. So I think one of the things that was really helpful is just knowing, how can I make my life as an attorney easier? How can I spend more of my day focusing on legal aspects and using my time in the best way possible? And I think the other part of that too is when in our practices, no matter what type of law you practice, there's often those repeatable tasks or things that you can potentially set up and automate. And going back to what Norino said, that there's some really great technology tools where those repeatable things that you do regularly, you can maybe automate that or have someone else do that to really free up your time for that most valuable service that you can provide as an attorney. So, and I think, just in general, the other thing that was helpful for me is just knowing that there's other attorneys out there who are going through some of the same challenges that I'm going through. And it'll be interesting to hear from people, how people and how their practices have been going with the COVID situation. So I think being able to interact with your peers and understand that, you're not alone in what you're going through, that's been a really big value that I've received from that Solo Small Firm Conference.
Excellent. Thank you, Matthew. And Thomas, I'll switch over to you next. Would you introduce yourself in your practice area?
Yeah, Chris, thanks for having me. Thomas Burton, Burton Law LLC. I operate a boutique estate planning, business law, and real estate firm here in Eau Claire, Wisconsin.
Thank you, Thomas. And I've seen you at the conference in the past. What's the number one reason why you attend and what keeps you coming back?
Yeah, I went, I think my first conference was 3 years ago, and I kept coming back ever since. And I think I went thinking I'd always wanted to go. I'd seen it on the schedule, and it was sort of in the back of my head as a solo that I should go to that conference. And so the first year I went, I was excited for a lot of the different sessions I saw listed. But what Narino said earlier, what was really useful was those 4 different tracks at the conference. So you could go in thinking, I recall thinking I'm going to go to all the substantive law sessions or something like that to get really up on these different practice areas. But once I was there, I looked at the schedule, and there's the law practice management sessions and then the technology sessions as well. And so what I like is it's like a potpourri of different things. And it also keeps you engaged during the day because sometimes, to be honest, 8 hours of substantive CLE can get a little dry even with the best presenters. So if you can go from, your session on real estate law to the 50 tech tips with Narino and Chris, which is very fast moving, because they only have a limited amount of time to give their tips. It's kind of fun. It's almost like watching an auction. It really keeps you engaged and alive. And then the other thing I was pleasantly surprised at is how good the general sessions are, because there's several general sessions that, so when I go, my goal is to get as many credits as possible because you get huge value. You can get all your credits for the year if you just go to this one conference. But the general sessions, they bring in really good national speakers. And I recall one year, it was a woman talking about how to just, part of the practice management, breathing exercises and reducing your stress during the day. And I remember going in, sitting there thinking like, I don't have time for this type of thing, right? But then as you did it, and she had such a relaxing voice, it really was helpful. And you close your eyes and you walk you through it, and it makes you as an attorney do something like that, which you really should be doing, for your own mental health and such. But as a solo, you don't, have some big firm retreat or something telling you to do this. So really those general sessions are useful, very useful as well.
Thank you, Thomas. And what is the most rewarding part for you about being a solo practicing attorney?
Yeah, I think so. Solo practice has a lot of pros and cons, and we've talked a little bit about, there's stress because you have to wear many hats doing all the different things, but it's also fun. It keeps you engaged. You're not only practicing law, you're a business owner, you're a strategist, you're dealing with tech issues. And the thing I like about it is I get to practice law the way I want to, and I treat the clients the way I want to treat them, and I take the clients I want and I don't take others. And for me, it's a very freeing experience. So you have the stress, but I also get the reward of my clients being very happy with me at the end, and I can just practice law the way I am comfortable. It makes me the best lawyer for the clients. And so for me, it's a great fit.
Thank you, Thomas. And I'm going to go back around to the panelists and just ask for some final thoughts. Narino, I'll start with you after you've heard the discussion. Any final thoughts that you have or ideas that you'd like to share?
I think everyone has said it very well, one, for why you want to come and why we're doing these things. And I think, Erin and I are presenting. We're going to be including stuff from Thomas in one of our presentations because Thomas does a great job with using videos. Visit his website, take a look at them. Once again, while we can't meet physically, this is still an opportunity for solo and small firm practitioners to come together, get some great information, learn some things from some terrific vendors, see some products, and, you know, honestly, advance your practice by the knowledge you gain.
Thank you, Norino. Matthew, final thoughts, words of advice?
My final thought is, you know, if you're going to attend one CLE program or one conference this year, make it the Solo Small Firm Conference. There's just so many great parts about it, whether you're more interested in technology, improving your process, or substantive areas, it's all there. So attend that conference and make the most of it, talk to your peers, and take advantage of everything it has to offer.
Thank you, Matthew. Thomas, final thoughts or advice?
Yeah, this year, if you're on the fence, just do it. Like I said, I waited a few years to go the first time, and then I've gone ever since. So don't wait so long. If you're like a new solo, go, and you'll benefit from the community this year because we're all being socially distanced, but you need that time with other thought leaders for yourself to propel your practice forward.
Thank you, Thomas. And Erin, final thoughts or advice?
One of my final thoughts and advice is that I love going to the solo and small firm because it helps me build my team. I came from slightly bigger firms before this, and going on my own, I was really concerned, like, oh my gosh, who do I go to if I need this expertise? I don't do estate planning. No one should have me do my wills. And so, but it was through the solo and small firm that I was able to meet Tom and Matt, so I could have someone to refer to. And I really was able to build this great team, not just of practice experts, but geographical experts. So when I had issues in Eau Claire, I knew where to go, and vice versa. I have a lot of people who call and ask me for trademark issues. And so it was such a great opportunity to build out my team that first thing I did when I started my firm was come to this. I didn't have to listen to Tom's advice. I took it all right and didn't wait. And I'm so glad that that's the case because it helped me expand my horizons and expand my business that much faster.
Thank you, Erin, and thank you, Thomas, Norino, and Matthew for sharing some time with us today and talking about your experiences. We will all be attending the conference that will be taking place at the end of October. Please join us, and we look forward to meeting, networking, and educating you all.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.